7 o'clock next Monday.
Okay.
And then other than that, because of the new resolution, I've been printing a lot of stuff, and now my printer is saying out of toner and you need a new drum. But I don't, so I got the prices for toner and a new drum, and I'm saying, wow, a toner is $137 and a drum is $57, and it's for a.
Didn't you say you had a printer that maybe was extra?
So I don't know if we have a policy, or maybe we should get one that says, because I don't know what printer the fiscal officer uses, but it seems to me, makes sense to me that maybe we should both be using the same brand of printer.
I know where there's one at.
So we can both use the same toner and use the same drums and stuff, but figure out what you want to do on that. But what I have is a Dell that you provided, model 1720DN, and there's the toner and the imager. If we want to reload
You want a
it,
new printer?
a new
I
printer. New
I make a motion. We got a new printer that she's not gonna use because she uses her own printer because there's less room. So it's stored in my basement right at the moment, so and I'd be more than happy to have it out in my basement, so.
Yeah, I can understand that. I've been doing some basement cleaning too.
That's identical to the one you're using, right?
Okay, that's fine, as long as I have a
Unless
printer.
somebody has a problem with it, I mean, it's just sitting down there, so. Never had the box open.
But yeah, but on the other side, I was just saying, it doesn't make any sense for us to be carrying 2 or 3 brands of toner.
No, you oughta just, everybody ought to have the same thing and then
Yeah.
just use one printer and that way you just buy the
Right.
stuff and.
Well, that's the one that the UAN automatically
Every
updates
2 years,
and
they
you
can
get it whether you
either
want it or
want
not.
Okay.
Yes.
So whatever you want to do, I just want to let you know I either need another printer or reload this one. So.
Okay, well, I make a motion, we, let him have that surplus printer.
I'll second. I don't think we need a motion. We already own it.
Okay,
Just
but we don't need,
internally.
Okay.
When do you
it's
want it?
internal. Whenever you want, I'll give
will
you
you
a
be
call.
home tomorrow or?
Yeah, I'll probably, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And then other than that, I just have a couple invoices for the fiscal officer. One is for Fraley Cooper for the last hearing, and the other one is for Tammy Collins for all the typing services. So,
I have one quick thing.
yes.
Greg Henry wants to build onto that pole building. You know where Greg Henry lives? First house on Sleepy Hollow. They're on a bank and has the building down below. Is there anything he has to do besides get a building permit or a zoning permit or?
No, just time to get a hold of me. I think that's it.
Cause he said, that's the only thing I told him is about how close he was. I couldn't remember how close he was to the property line, but he's 100 feet or more
Yeah,
from the
I was
property
gonna
line,
say.
so. He didn't tell me what size it was gonna be, but he's got a boat down there. He's gonna build it big enough so he can put that boat under the side of it. Maybe, I don't know if he's gonna close it clear around or what he's gonna do, but I'll tell him to call
Yeah,
you.
just give me a call. We'll take care of it.
Okay.
Anything else on zoning?
That's it for me.
Okay. Under unfinished business, the comp time policy that the county has is spelled out on the handout that I gave you prior to the meeting starting.
So is that something we can incorporate into 2017?
We can,
Or do we want to?
I don't know if you wanna make any changes to what they have, because they have that an employee may not exceed accruing 240 hours. I don't know that we want, I mean, that's a lot of hours. That's 6 weeks of time off. I mean, you'd probably like to have 6 weeks vacation. If you need some time to read this and digest it and propose changes to it.
Well, the only thing he told me, cause I talked to him about it too, and he says as far as the hours, change the hours, but he said if you leave all the rest of the wording the same, that it not only was, went over by their attorneys, but they send all personnel issues to an outside attorney to have them looked at. So he said there'll be no challenges to them as long as you don't change the wording, but you can do whatever you want with the hours, so.
Right. So you wanna think about that a little bit, or you act on it now, or?
hours you want.
They're
You don't
both between 80 and 120.
You gotta worry, you don't have to worry about him because he'll never accrue 240 hours.
You wanna do 2 weeks or 3? 2 or 3 weeks?
It makes no difference to me whatsoever.
Well, let's do 2 and then,
80 hours.
yeah, 80 hours and then, I mean, we can revisit it if we wanna change it. I make a motion that we allow comp time up to 80 hours of accrued hours for Jason. Beginning now, December 7th.
I'll second the motion.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So I'll format that, put it in the form of a policy amendment to the handbook then. Is that okay with everybody?
Yep.
Okay. Our insurance renewal was submitted. They hope to have a quote for us on the 2017 premium on or before December 9th, which is this Friday. I don't think it's gonna be anything out of the ordinary, but if it's, I guess, a big increase, maybe we need to have a special meeting to talk about it, cause it's due in January. So will you let us know, Jennifer, if you get something from them? I think they're gonna email it to you, was what I think you requested on the application. The corrective actions for the fire marshal's report have all been completed. Surplus equipment. I know we talked about the bucket truck and excess fire gear.
What about the fire truck?
Well, in reviewing the minutes, we didn't have anything really in that, so
Okay.
I think we need to do them as separate vehicles anyway, but, on the bucket truck, I took the information from the title and the inventory and prepared a resolution to access it, cause it's no longer needed for public use. It's in accordance with revised code 50510. And pursuant to 5010A1, the board's determined, in our opinion, that the 1994 Ford lift-all bucket truck has a fair market value greater than $2,500, cause that's a threshold that the law requires.
Yep.
And we can exercise the authority pursuant to revised code 50510A1 to dispose of the property via public auction via gov deals, or did you find somebody that's interested in buying it directly? I guess the only thing we really didn't come up with, or I didn't feel comfortable with, was the minimum bid price shall be. I mean, usually on gov deals, they go for more than what you have listed as a minimum bid anyway, but, you know, if we put it
I
on
wouldn't
there-
take less than 10 for it. I'd bring more than that. It really should be worth 15, I would say, but I wouldn't take less than 10 for it.
what do you
Or I don't care if you just want rid of it, sell it for whatever it brings, but I'd say the market value, since it's inspected and, you know, if somebody came and picked it up right now, they could take it right out and
It's
use
ready
it.
to go.
So
It'll be
what
no
if we
shit,
did
everything.
like 12?
So, I don't
I
care.
know that's the only thing I left blank on the resolution, cause I didn't know what to put in there, but
I'd say 12 if you think it's worth 15. I mean, we don't wanna.
Well, I mean, we gave like 22,000 for it, and we spent a couple thousand on it, and I mean, we put a lot of hours on it the first couple or 3 years till we got all the trees trimmed back. But
I mean, the only thing that can happen is we don't sell it.
well, that's true.
I mean, it's not like we're gonna get hurt, you know, then we can revisit it another time or whatever. Cause how much do they get? I forget.
I didn't print all
A
that stuff.
percent, yeah.
out.
I
Here's-
mean, I don't know. That's my suggestion, is like 12 or 12.5 for the minimum bid.
Are you okay with either of those?
I don't, makes no difference to me.
Okay, so what's your motion then, Jody?
Minimum bid 12,500.
Okay. Is there a second to that motion?
Yep, I'll second it.
Okay,
Karen,
yes.
Jody,
Yes.
Yes.
And so then it's got the verbiage here that, you know, by this resolution, we agree to dispose of the vehicle, same verbiage as previously, greater than $2,500 in value by public auction at the time and place resolved herein. So what this allows us to do is to contact gov dealers and to do the advertising that requires to make sure that we're in compliance with the code. So I'll move for the adoption of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Doug,
Yes.
Jody,
Yes.
Karen.
Yes. And then we have the quantity of the old turnout gear that was stored up overhead in the fire station. There were 22 turnout coats. One was a Karen's brand and the rest of them were Globe. There were 26 pairs of Globe bunker pants. One pair has holes in it, but there's 5 pairs with no serial numbers, and here's the serial numbers for the rest of them.
So we're giving all this stuff to,
That's in a separate resolution if
Okay.
we want to do that. And then there's 9 helmets. Karen's and Brothers, model 1010 FS. There's 3 yellow ones, and 4 black ones, and a couple of red ones, and then there's 2 water helmets, and then there's 32 pairs of miscellaneous gloves. And when we got to the boots, I don't know how we come up with several single boots, but for 1 foot or the other. But there was a total of 25 pairs of boots. And here's the numbers off of them, if I could find
Sure.
numbers.
There is a reason for that somewhat, so.
Oh, I know that,
Cause you go out on fires and you step on something, get a hole or something in them, and
sure.
if a pair of boots fits you, you just go over and take a boot, so.
Well, that's probably what was done, but I mean, it was kinda awkward to try to make sure we didn't have any spares, but it took a few hours to go through all that mess of stuff, but I inventoried it personally, so if anybody wants to go look at it, we can go do that. That's the list of the inventory, and I've prepared a separate resolution for the fire gear. because the revised code, the same section 505.10, but paragraph 10A7 empowers us to dispose of township personal property that's unfit for the purpose of which it was acquired for. And we did receive the letter from Carthage Township in Athens County, a political subdivision in the state of Ohio, that requests permission to buy that from us for $1, if the board approves the resolution. Does anybody have any discussion or qualms or anything about
I
that?
make a motion, we, sell it to him for $1.
Second it.
Can you do a roll call vote? Yes?
Yes.
I'd like to keep this loose until we get it transferred to them and check them all off and have them verify it, sign it, or do you want a copy of this beforehand? I mean, I've got it on a Word document, I could just email it to you.
Copy of this.
I need to probably get it. Yeah, please.
We can't do that.
Okay, under other unfinished business, the subject to the records retention, there was a records retention schedule that I believe the administrator emailed to everybody. That was the latest and greatest one.
Yeah, well then,
And that was for discussion at the last meeting, I didn't have a
now the
copy.
big question is why is he or anybody else retaining the records that should be required to be, by law, to be in the public records?
Well, they-
Because I've been through 9 years of records and there wasn't no records retention schedule, and as soon as somebody sends him a message, well, lo and behold, he has it. It's not where it's legally supposed to be, but somebody always comes up with the stuff.
Doug, I can't answer that because I don't have possession of the records.
Well, the records, the record keeping here was poor, to say the least. I mean, it's pretty bad that a township the size of this has, all they have for record keeping is all the records thrown down in tubs.
They were organized in files. I don't know how they were transported, well.
Okay, when it's somewhere between they transported and they arrived at her house, they're not in files, they're in file folders stacked in there.
They were in file folders, lined up in the boxes when I witnessed them leaving Beale Road, so I don't know what happened, whether they took a bumpy ride a roundabout way or whatever, but
Well, they must, a lot of them blowed out too, because there's a lot of stuff missing out there that should be in there. Contracts and equipment contracts that nobody has, and, you know, he's saying right here, he wants us to buy a squad, and he's illegally using the equipment right now because nobody can produce a, contract saying he's even allowed to use the equipment. And everybody except, all the prosecutors that just took off out of the prosecutor's office, every other attorney I've talked to said no contract means he's not allowed to use the stuff unless you have a contract in place.
okay, well,
So, it's the same way with the cameras. I don't have any problem with cameras. But you know, me and Jennifer are elected officials here too, and we should have access to the records the same as everybody else does.
yes, you
So,
should.
you know, and I've been going over the same thing, the same way with the website. You know, I've been asking for access to that website for at least 6 or 7 months. So, and all you do is ignore me. So, the only thing I can guarantee you is turn the cameras back on, do whatever you want, but you'll quit ignoring me next month because I'm going to retain an attorney and we're going to go to court and we're going to find out whether you're allowed to retain all the records and deny us records. So,
I'm not retaining any of the records, I am not.
you have access to
custodian of
the,
the
can
records.
you watch those cameras?
No, I cannot.
Okay.
Who instructed Mark Van Buren to uncover the
Uncover.
cameras when the trustees said that they should be covered?
I don't think anybody instructed him to
He
do
just
that.
came down on his own and uncovered our cameras?
Because there was a motion made at the last
There was a
meeting to
motion
cover
made
them
at
up,
the
so they should not have
trustees.
been they should not have been uncovered until another motion is made to uncover them.
Well, then, did you just make a motion to uncover them?
No, I'm not making a motion to uncover them until you figure out how you're
The
gonna give
question
me and
is,
Jennifer
who-
access to them.
Did Mark Van Buren come into and go against the trustees and uncover those cameras when the trustees said they should be covered? Because you voted to cover them last meeting. Did he take it upon his own
We're
to
gonna stick
uncover
with the
those?
agenda, Greg, okay?
Well,
And
okay.
Well, the agenda was whether you're lying or
We're
not.
gonna cover this, all right?
Okay,
For the records retention, do we not all have a copy of the records retention
we do
schedule?
now,
Okay? And those video cameras are part of the schedule,
right?
so they should be uncovered so that they're in compliance.
And everybody should have and she should have access because they're generating public records, and we just went to a public
Are
records
they that
class.
kind of camera that they're being accessed somewhere, or are they just on a loop being taped somewhere? That's my question.
Well, that's what we need to know, but
Because, you know, you have to have a special kind if you wanna be able to see them, and I don't know,
that's
is
what I
that
need,
the
that's
kind
what,
they are?
that's what I wanna know, that's
Yeah,
why I
that's
want
what I wanna
access to
know
them,
too.
so I can see if somebody else, because
I don't think they are. I think they're the kind
Well,
that tape, and there's
it-
no Wi-Fi
it
attached.
doesn't make any difference. If somebody in this room right now, ask Jennifer, and
Right.
that's who gets all of the records requests. If they ask her right now for 14 days camera footage, then she has to have access to that.
Is that what the records retention thing says?
Yes, 14 days.
I believe 14 days
Okay.
is correct.
So that's what
That's
we
all
need
it
to
does.
find
It
out.
don't keep them, and the reason you gotta have it, that's all I asked you for before, was a records retention schedule. So if somebody asks for copies of them, you can make that, if you decide you don't wanna keep 14 days of them, you can keep 12 hours of them. You can keep any amount that you want. The only thing is if you keep them, and if you don't have them on a records retention schedule, whatever that thing records before it resets,
Mhm.
you have to give them to them.
So
But
like,
if
I
they
would
re-
have to come in,
And
like
that's-
if you had 48 hours, I'd have to come in, like if it was Monday, Tuesday, I'd have to come in on Tuesday and request it before it taped over it on Wednesday.
But 14 days.
Well, no, if we changed it to 7 days or 2 days or whatever.
Yeah, well, the only question that's gonna be is how long them things record, because
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, we had them at church for 5 days, which was useless, because, I mean, if you don't go Sunday to Sunday, someone might not, you know, pick up on it, but I don't think that they're the kind of cameras that you can view from your home, like, if they were, you would be the logical person that would have access to them, but I don't, but maybe they are, I don't know.
They gotta be viewed some. I just put cameras in my house. I had a trailer stolen, but they have to be recorded somewhere.
Yeah, but not for viewing purposes. They can be
Somebody-
recorded, no, they
How do
can
you do
just
that?
be recorded on a recording thing and you have to put it in there and look at it. You have to put it in
one
something
times
to
it's like a
look at.
hard drive for a computer.
Yeah, a hard
it just
drive.
goes on, and when it hits the end of the 14 days, it just starts at the beginning and rewrites every
Yeah,
office.
just rewrites.
But you have to have a place to view it, or there's no reason to have it.
Yeah, well, there is over in the firehouse. The only
Once
thing
you-
about
yeah,
it is,
yeah, I mean, but it's not like, it's not
This-
Wi-Fi where you can see it anywhere.
But if it's on a computer, there's an IP address attached to it, regardless. If it has a computer attached to it, a DVR, there's an IP address.
so it can be accessed.
Yeah, I
You have the
don't think
IP
that that's
address.
right. I think you have to buy a certain kind in order for that to happen, but
Well, that's what we're
maybe.
trying to find out, but
Right,
nobody
that's what
can
I'm
have
saying.
access to them except the township administrator that hasn't worked here
We
for
had
6
Mark
months.
Van Buren come from West Licking and come and uncover those cameras for a reason. Somebody had him do it. He's never over here. He came over specifically to uncover those cameras.
Well,
Why did he do that? Does anybody know why he did that?
I believe he has been here on other occasions that may be unbeknownst to you. He did have hours to turn in. I asked Jennifer if she prepared a check for him, and she said she didn't get the hours from him. So I don't know.
But why did the trustees vote to cover the cameras and Mark Van Buren go
Until
against the
we found
trustees?
out if there was a record retention thing.
That has to still go through a
But you
meeting.
still gotta make a motion to uncover
So
the
therefore,
cameras, yeah.
what was his motivation to uncover them if nobody can watch them? That makes no sense whatsoever.
How did we know to uncover them?
How do you know to uncover them? Somebody had to tell him they were covered because you guys just covered them in a previous meeting.
I can't speak.
For the records retention, then is there a motion to,
There should be no motion, everybody's got a copy of it, to the current one, so that's all we really needed.
Yeah.
All we needed actually was that last page, it was
The
added.
cameras will have to be inspected in the firehouse to see if they're, and
So we need
bring
access.
somebody
We're
in.
not uncover them, then we need
Yeah,
access
so we
to
know
them.
what kind they are.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be interested in knowing that too. And maybe Mark has that information.
well, I can't
How
speak
did
to
Mark
it because
know
I
to
don't know.
uncover the cameras?
How'd he know they were covered? Yes.
Is there any other discussion on that?
Yes, how
Is
did
there
Mark
any
know
new
to
business?
uncover the cameras?
Obviously, the person not wanting us to talk about it probably knows the answer.
Well, I mean, I think he knows what happened.
Yes, that's you.
We talk about it.
Well, you're a real,
Yeah, I am. I'm wondering.
Researcher.
Yeah, I really am. Yes,
I
I
have
am.
no.
You're not a trustee.
Yeah,
You're
but
not
I am,
either.
Gordon, I'm asking the same questions. So,
But we'll.
we're gonna get it all straightened out because, next month sometime, I'm getting all my finances together and I'm gonna file a lawsuit against them because they're doing so many things here illegal. You go out and run your mouth off about people, you better be able to prove this stuff, because we're going to court, I can guarantee you.
well, if we
You
can
better be
stay-
able to prove all this stuff,
if we
because,
I have no
if we
new
can
business.
contribute to the rest of the meeting, or is there any other,
you know, because all their buddies at the prosecutor's office are all taking over, because we're about to get the first honest person running the prosecutor's office we've had in 30 years. So, it's a wonder
Karen,
all them people are leaving.
have you started taking applications yet for a new fire prevention officer since the contract is expired?
we haven't done anything. He doesn't have to be under contract, the fire prevention officer doesn't have to be under contract, they can just be appointed.
But before you had talked about
Okay, then he's not a
Taking
contract official, then he's a
applications.
hired official, then if he's just appointed.
Well,
you had talked about before taking applications,
There
so I
was-
just wondered.
Okay, can we have access to the website then?
through the webmaster, yeah.
Okay, then who is he so we can get a hold of him?
It's on the, website. Philip Vaughn,
Okay.
I'll get the information to you,
I'll look up on the website if that's where it is.
okay? Do you have any correspondence?
Well, Joyce had a question.
Yeah, are you gonna start taking applications, resumes for a fire prevention officer, or are you gonna continue without the?
That was tabled at an earlier meeting, so what do we wanna do, board?
I'd still like to table it until 2017. I'd like to get 2016 ended, and in January, I would like to see us do a committee and revisit the fire prevention officer.
Okay. Are you okay with that, Doug?
I don't have a problem.
You're waiting to January to start talking about the committee?
No, I'd like to start a committee in January. I'd like to have our people to be able to discuss.
Is it possible?
We have to have two, well, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Is it possible, could I possibly be on that committee? Or is it
That would be-
outside, or, I mean, is it residents?
That'll have to be
that-
decided when we decide how we're gonna do the committee, so.
If Jody's wanting to start a committee in January, this would be the last meeting before that, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, we having a year-end meeting, or?
Do you have a need to have a year-end meeting?
Started by the people.
And we're scheduled to go to a year-end update class on
Decided
Friday.
to do the appointment.
I have no idea what to expect.
Well, then maybe if you learn something already that would be.
I'm not just saying, I don't
Share that with us.
set my ducks in a row before I do something.
yeah,
is, you know, a committee, we need to, the board need to discuss the composition of it and,
I'd like to do that at the organizational meeting, and then our first regularly scheduled meeting, appoint it and get it going. That's my thoughts, I don't know.
we all hate this magazine.
We're gonna go $40 deposit something.
Probably from the Farm Bureau's function. Yep.
Real is something I need.
Yeah, and insurers now, not everybody like that there.
It is.
To buy clothes for download for free. Send you an invoice.
So you don't run over with brush hog or a lawnmower.
Theirs look, they're really nice though, they're laminated and they're pretty. Oh yeah, they've sent me in before.
So we're not having a year-end meeting then?
Should we see if she needs to have one? I don't know that we need to have one. If the
When we have
first
a
Tuesday in January is the 3rd, would that work for a
Both,
first meeting of the year?
the long one,
Can we start earlier in the day?
makes no difference to me.
I can until, I mean, I can start after 11. The work, you guys can do it without me.
Do you wanna see what works for your schedule? You wanna wait till you attend the training Friday to see what? Or we wanna just go ahead and set something up?
Go ahead and set it up if you want my, fairly flexible.
Okay,
Just not before noon.
Is that your retired time getting up?
No, not me, I'm up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
That's 2 pots of coffee in and
Ooh.
I had to get her to Columbus one day at 8:15 and
Oh, boy.
it was bad.
Yeah, just so I just have to teach in the morning, so, and it sounds like that'll work out good.
It's a challenge.
It doesn't matter,
Probably better
anytime
off just
after
to be
11.
quiet.
It's good.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You're right.
1, 2, 3, 4. What time works for you? You have obligations too, so,
it doesn't matter.
and Doug's retired, so he,
I'm retired.
Tired yesterday morning, tired again this morning, huh?
Can we do it at noon on the 3rd? Does that work for you, Doug?
Yeah, anything works for me. You tell me 2 days ahead of time, I can be here. I might have plans, there's always somebody wanting something from me, so.
Is that the regular meeting to follow?
The
or-
organizational meeting with the regular meeting to follow, or?
Yeah, that's fine with me, I don't care what you do. Meeting's a meeting.
Okay.
Mine. Make it fit your schedule, I don't have much of a schedule, not this time of year.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Can I ask a couple public questions? You didn't have public comment and I don't want to intrude, but
No, I have a commitment, I have to be
Yeah. Is-
You got about
leaving very
5
soon,
minutes.
but you can,
that insurance quote that we're gonna get, is that for health insurance or
Nope.
liability insurance?
Liability insurance,
That's
we have to
the
do it every
property
year.
and vehicle.
Property
Yeah.
insurance.
And did we buy a dump truck bed?
Mhm.
Okay. And I thank you, Jennifer, for the payment register, that I appreciate that, maybe that's something we could put on the table routinely.
Yeah, I
I
like
think
that.
that'd be a good
Thank
idea.
you for doing that.
That paving contract with, Smalls, the money, the cash was on hand to pay that contract, have they performed the work? Okay, so it remains in the budget,
Mhm.
so does that mean it's gonna elevate the budget to the point that everybody gets a raise? Like they,
We would've got the raise this
That's
year, except we
that's
voted it down,
Yeah.
so.
that's what Nancy was accused of doing with that tanker payment.
Yeah,
And so
no.
I was
We
concerned.
had
To
enough
discuss
last year, like
about
Doug
the-
said, but it's just non-agenda item, so we
Yeah,
shouldn't
the
do.
tanker payment was because we weren't invoiced.
Well, I know what the reason for that
That's
was.
the honest to goodness reason, I mean,
She simply got the blame for it.
well, whatever.
Okay, I made a
I think that's all. I
motion
have.
to adjourn, is there?
Thank you. Thanks for your service and happy holiday.
I second the motion,
If you can find that letter for the commissioners, you can sign, update it, and then email it to me or tell me where to get it. Whatever, and then I'll get it around to them, turn in their sheets and their time cards. You'll be set.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thanks for